Right, guys, welcome to the nutrition, diet, food Q&A. We have Albert Catanina joined us so far. I don't know if you guys can hear me or not. Obviously, if you have any questions, guys, just let us know. Then obviously fire away. Otherwise, we've got a lot of questions that we've got from you guys that we're going to go through. So any of you guys that are on the chat right now, do you have anything you want to ask while you're there, or do you want to message us it or anything, or anybody? No? Okay, cool. Right, fine. We'll start then. Paul, something I've had a lot of questions about, which I'll direct towards you. Don't know if you want to answer this or not. Why do I bloat, and how to prevent it when I'm eating food? That was a question, like a generic food, not like a specific one. Just why am I bloating? Because obviously you're looking in the mirror and you're looking at fat. You're not fat.
Yeah.
Bloated. What is that? Why did that happen?
That's most likely going to be caused by a carb-heavy meal. So something like pasta, rice, bread, purely on the basis that for every gram of carbs you consume, you pull in 4 grams of water into your body, which is not a bad thing because it's lubricating the joints and it's shutting all the nutrients into the muscle, etc. And it disperses within a day or two. That's why when people jump on the scales after a heavy weekend, if they've had pasta or pizza or whatever, they'll weigh heavy and think they've gained a lot of weight. Realistically, they're not gaining fat, they're just gaining a little bit of water.
So that actually goes to my next question that I've been asked is why, like for example, a lot of my clients, I base it all on obviously weight's an important thing, it is, but a lot of my clients, I base all of their stuff on how they look and what fits, and they always ask me why. And it's simple, like you just said, you know, it's the weight isn't a false representation, that's not fair to say, but if you have a heavy carb meal, like you just said, or a big week, whatever it may be, you are going to weigh a lot more. Does that mean you're fat? No, it doesn't. Does it mean you've put weight on? No, it will be gone eventually. So obviously to those people that are saying, why am I gaining weight all the time? Like we had a message from Viv, who's in the group. She's actually gained weight, but her abs, she's more lean. That's another interesting thing to go from like this workouts alone. Obviously with them saying, I'm trying to think the best way to ask you that because I've just sort of gone around in a big circle with it. But why would you, start that again. Would you agree with the fact that they don't necessarily have to worry about their weight as long as their clothes are getting like looser?
Definitely. We'll just shut this back down. But there's far too many variables for weight. Stupid things like what clothes you're wearing, for women, the time of the month, how much food you've had, how hydrated you are, the time of the day, even the environment. So if it's sunny and hot, you tend to retain more water. So it's a guideline to use the weight, but it doesn't matter if it's week on. I generally try and find, from what has been said, is to weigh yourself a couple of times a week and take an average.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Same time every day sort of thing. Well, not every day, but same time every time.
Yeah. One guy did it and he weighed himself morning and night for a whole week just to plot the fluctuation.
Yes.
He had his diet in check. Over the week he lost weight, but there was times where it was up and down.
Yeah, I did a test with Danny. Can you hear this echo?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's going on there? It's just started.
You need to mute. There we go.
Is that why? Oh, yeah. There we go. Right.
It's because there's a slight delay on Zoom for us talking to what they're hearing.
Okay. Yeah, I did a bit of a test at home once. I weighed myself for every 3 or 4 hours for 2 days, and the fluctuation was insane. You know, waking up at 80 kilos, going to bed at 82 and a half, waking up at 70, 79, having food, been 81, you know, and again, when you say, if you measure out an average, you tend to get the right one. Obviously, not saying go and weigh yourself every couple of hours, just saying that's literally how it happens. People will drink this, they'll drink all of this, a litre of water, put a kilo on and freak out. This has to go somewhere. It's in your body, it sits in your body until it's used, until your body uses. It's like food. They'll have a big Sunday dinner, you'll go weigh yourself, you'll have put 2 kilos on. But it's because you've had a massive plate of food and it's inside your body now. It doesn't just get used like that. And I think that's the thing with a lot of people. They want it to be used like that, like quick. As soon as it goes in, it's got to be used. And it's like carrying the food. Same sort of thing, same principle. Another question I've got for you then, Paul, we've been asked, which I'm not sure the best way to go about this one. Alcohol and best alternatives. Obviously, I won't say who it was, but this person drinks a lot of beer. And a client of mine, what I've done is try to get them to have more gin. Okay? Because at the end of the day, no one who is probably going to be watching this or requiring our services is a top athlete where we have to be saying, do not drink any alcohol. I think Paul has actually got some wine there. I might be missing. He's got wine. Yeah, of course he does. Yeah, why not? But this is the thing. We drink, having a drink every now and then. It's quite. It's nice for people. It's a release. So, what would you say to someone who's saying drinking a lot of beer? What would you say?
It's obviously moderation.
Yeah,
that's the key. Not a case of cutting it out. Alcohol is. This is a myth. I think Paul will know on this one. I've told her. Alcohol is not actually, the calories from alcohol are not actually stored in the body as fat. The calories from alcohol are classed as a poison, so the body has to get rid of them first.
Yeah.
So what happens if you consume 800 calories of alcohol, your body's got to use them up before it moves on to the food.
Yeah.
So if you have your normal daily intake and the 800 calories of alcohol, it puts you into a surplus. So you're going to end up gaining that little bit of weight because your body's not had a chance to digest everything that it would normally have done without that alcohol.
Yeah.
So lower calorie alternatives literally change that balance.
Yeah.
So you can get away with it. So things like gin and slimline tonic, etc., etc. Prosecco is a good one. That's actually quite low calorie.
Yeah.
So you can still have that little fix. Me and Nat quite often have a bottle of wine on an evening, but we use like the lower alcohol one.
Yeah.
And it's half the calories of what you'd get in a normal bottle.
Yeah, well, that's all it is, isn't it?
But you're still having that whole scenario of you having a bit of alcohol, having a nice drink at the end or with your meal.
Yeah.
So you can still have it, enjoy it, and move on from it instead of thinking, oh crap, I've consumed now.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's as simple as, for example, I did this with one client, and he had enough of gin. He had enough, and he didn't want to drink anything else. He wanted to go back to beer. So what we did, we changed it. He used to get cans of beer. This just sounds so stupid. 440ml cans. So we changed it to 330ml bottles.
Yeah.
And he still had his 2 or 3 a night. But after he'd had 3 of them, that's only just under a litre of alcohol. Whereas if he was having his 3 cans, he was looking at nearly 1 1/3. Yeah. So then over the week, he's almost saving 2 or 3 litres of alcohol, which again, it's all about the volume, isn't it?
Yeah.
We're not saying that's what equivalent, but
that's what always makes me laugh when we don't think anything of going out to a pub and drinking 5-6 pints.
No.
Which is what, 2.5-3 litres of fluid?
Probably more, yeah.
When would you do that in a couple of hours sat at home?
Oh yeah, that's the thing. When you speak to people, like if you ask any of the guys here now, have you drank 3 litres of water today? That'd be stupid. I can't drink 3 litres of water. Guarantee you've all drank more than a bottle of wine in one night, though.
Yeah.
Within the space of a few hours. And that's the thing. It's I've done it myself. It's me and my partner Danny, we were talking about ways to try and drink more water, like putting a bit of fruit in it, things like that, to entice us to drink more. Yeah, she'll open a bottle of wine and we have to finish it within 2 nights because otherwise it goes off. We have to. There's no, we have to, or else.
Yeah, I've got to tonight.
And we've got to do it tonight because
it's Friday. Yeah.
But that's way like some people think, I guess, with the alcohol. But the thing that you said is quite interesting. Is like people put that alcohol with it's fat. It's going to make me fat. The alcohol isn't what makes you fat. There's a reason it sends you kind of blind. It sends you off balance. You can't speak. It's a poison to the body. It is bad. People like, oh, I'm so drunk I can't see. When you take a step back, you lose your balance, you lose your ability to talk, you lose your ability to see straight, think straight. Like, it is a poison. And like you said, it's your body's way of trying to get rid of it.
And the extra on that one as well, if you go on a night out and have a few to drink and you get drunk, you're more likely to reach for unhealthier options.
Yeah.
So you grab a pizza on the way home or a kebab or whatever. And then all of a sudden, you've again pushed that balance of calories over higher.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And
so you're going to get surplus.
It has a massive effect on mental health as well, I think, with people, the way they have it. Sometimes they'll have the alcohol, feel bad that they've had the alcohol. Then, like you say, make the bad food choices. then because they've had the alcohol, they feel bad. So they've made the bad food choices. They now feel bad that they've made the bad food choices.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to keep
Spiral.
making choices because it's just a spiral.
And I'll start again on Monday.
Yeah, start again Monday. And every single time. Then by Wednesday, it's down the pan again because you've had a crap day at work or whatever it may be. Anyway, another question then, Paul. This is an interesting one. Does skipping breakfast matter in terms of trying to lose weight?
No.
Would
Short
you
answer,
suggest
no.
skipping breakfast to lose weight?
I'm not a big breakfast fan, personally. I can't eat a big meal straight away. So I'll use something like a protein shake or a protein bar to get something in me. But if it doesn't affect you, it doesn't really matter, as long as when you break the fast, you eat in a reasonable meal based around sort of protein like you would normally. Because what tends to happen if you don't eat, you'll get starving and then you'll reach for a quick fix, which will be something sweet or something like that because your body's craving that calorie and that quick fix of energy basically from carbs. So as long as you're using the right foods when you do actually start eating, there's no reason why you can't. And that's basically what intermittent fasting is. It's just a skipping breakfast. They're just giving it a good term to promote.
So it's interesting because obviously I kind of not have a different view because it's exactly the same principle as what you've just said. But when I have to eat in the morning, I have to. My body just needs food. Like yourself, you say you can have a protein bar.
That's probably routine.
Yeah,
because you've done it for so long.
Complete routine. That's about 7 years ago when I was starting in the gym working out. I got into that thing of eating every 2 or 3 hours because you need to. Because if you don't eat every 2 or 3 hours, you're going to die.
Stops the metabolism.
Yeah, it does all this stuff or else you're going to die. And it doesn't do anything for you. It doesn't matter whether you have your 2,000 calories in one meal or in 8 meals through the day. But because my body, I train my body to want to eat so often, I'm always hungry. So I find it beneficial for me to eat smaller and more often. That doesn't mean that is the right way to do it. That just means that's how I stop snacking on rubbish. So when people like have a snack, for example, a slice of toast, I'll go and cook a little bit of meat with some veg. Similar calories, then a couple of slices of toast, but a hell of a lot more nutritional benefit. So people might look at that a bit strange, like, oh, I've had an orange today, snacking. Oh, I had chicken and broccoli. Like, a snack, it's hard because I have to eat every 3 or 4 hours now, just because my body tells me I'm hungry.
You've adapted to that.
Yeah, because that's what I've done. That's not what's right or what's wrong. That's what I've done. So what I said to the person who asked about skipping breakfast, does it matter? All I said was, again, it's one of my clients. I've given you a certain number of calories to hit and a certain number of protein to hit. That's it. I don't actually care how you do it. As long as you hit that protein and stay at that calorie level, you will get what you want. If you and this person wants to lose weight, if you gain weight, it's very simple. You've eaten more. That's it. There's no two ways about it.
There has been studies done on intermittent fasting, and it has shown a little bit of cognitive benefit.
Okay.
So in terms of brain function, as long as you kept busy. So if you're productive first thing on the morning and you've got a jobs list to do, and you get crack on and do it, you'll probably find you'll nail it a lot quicker. One, because you're not having to stop for breakfast, but two, because there is a little bit of cognitive benefit because your body's not digesting food, etc., etc. So it's a little bit more switched on to some respect. But then if you get to the point where you're starving, then you're going to want the chocolate and sweet stuff to actually.
You've got to find a balance. It's like Nick Mitchell, who runs Ultimate Performance. I respect him quite a lot, so I follow his stuff. And he doesn't promote so much intermittent fasting or anything like that. But he's he's an older guy and he's probably in some of the best shape for someone his age. And he says he doesn't eat anything until he's trained, and he doesn't train until the afternoon. So someone like him who doesn't necessarily promote intermittent fasting, he's always busy. So like you said, he's kept busy. He does all of his work stuff in the morning and lunchtime, however long it takes. Once he's done it, he'll train at whatever time, 3 or 4 o'clock. Then he'll have his meal. And he'll cram his food into maybe 4 or 5 hour windows. But the point we're trying to get across is it's whatever works for you. So to the original point of, does skipping breakfast matter? It's one of them things where if you don't eat breakfast anyway, no, it's not really going to matter too much. If you don't wake up and you're hungry, no, I don't think it's going to matter. As long as you're not picking at things.
I think part of the issue with that is it was driven down our throat that you have to eat every 3 hours.
Well, it's
or
like
every
these.
2 hours.
It's like this for breakfast. Really healthy. Really, really healthy Special K for breakfast. Loaded with sugar and dry fruit. You know, we never had this when we were cavemen, when everyone was healthy. And we are the only species to have milk from a different animal, from a different species, sorry, past birth. So, breakfast, guys, cereal's not the way forward. That's my view, anyway.
Yeah. Not enough protein.
Yeah, as long as there's plenty of protein in there. Right, anyway, you mentioned about protein bars and shakes. I get a lot of questions about this. A lot of people who don't know anything about them, which is the majority of people, believe having a protein shake or a protein bar is an instant muscle builder or an instant fat loss item, so to speak. Like, oh, if I have this, I'm going to get big or I'm going to lose weight. Or what I kind of want to say about them is a protein bar and a protein shake are a supplement, and they are that. They're a supplement to your already should be healthy diet. They are there for, like, when Paul says he has them in the morning, Paul has his in the morning because maybe he's in a rush, getting his kid off to school, whatever it may be, an early session, early start, doesn't like to eat in the morning but wants to have something to keep him going. That's when you'd have your protein shake, right?
Yeah. First thing in the morning and after training, I generally use them.
Yeah.
Convenience. Convenience is the big thing. Getting the protein in there, and cost a lot of the time as well, because a protein shake's a lot cheaper than cooking a couple of chicken breasts and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. So you can get a bag of protein for 20 quid, 20, 30 quid, and it'll last you a good month or so, 1 or 2 a day. But yeah, so basically what I'd say, I have my protein shake and protein bars for those that are obviously interested in them. Protein shakes and bars, I only ever have them, like Paul said, for convenience. I'll sometimes have a bar for breakfast if I'm up early, like I'm talking 4 in the morning, I'll grab one on the way to work, sort of thing. Or if I'm working long hours and I ain't got time to sit down and eat, or I haven't cooked anything, that's where I'll have the protein bar. Protein shake I'll have after a workout as well, just because when you've worked out, your body requires that. Your body's requiring any form of nutrients, so anything you put in your body straight away, it's going to be driven straight into them muscles to repair them. So a protein shake is best after a workout, and only to be used as a supplement, not a meal replacement.
Just see it as it is, just literally food stuff. That's all it is.
Yeah, I mean,
it's a case of you've got to factor it in.
I was approached with I won't drop all the names in it, but I was approached with I forgot what they're called, but basically a food company that's sign up to us, pay £250 and we'll send you all this special stuff that makes you shit yourself and gets rid of all your stuff. That's basically what it is, okay? And the protein shake they sent me has 300 calories for 20 grams of protein, right? My protein, hate them or love them, nice and cheap and cheerful. They do a shake with 20 grams of protein with 100 calories. When you start putting the calories to the protein value, it's a real big eye opener as to what, like, basically the point is these guys are selling me this shake saying, have one of these a day and it's great for you, but it's 400 calories in them. Whereas the protein shake I have is 100 calories. So I'm getting the same amount of protein, which is good, for a lot less calories. It's all about more bang for your buck. It's about getting as much protein in as you can, or much good nutrients in, for as little calories as possible.
The best thing to do with that is to use a basic shake like you do, like whey protein, and couple it with a bit of fruit. So you're getting your carbs from a decent source. A lot of the meal replacements are filled with carbs in the form of like maltodextrin, which acts like a sugar in the body. So it's literally a case of you have a bit of sugar and protein, but they charge you 3 times as much for it because it's a weight gain or a weight loss. Yeah,
and if you actually do your research and look at the calorific values, the meal replacement is probably more calories than a meal you could cook at home anyway.
Yeah.
So, you know, there's little things like Sunday dinners. People go, Sunday dinner's really bad. You think about it, chicken, veg, and a bit of mash. You know, if you add all the butter and the milk into your mashed potato, things like that, you've got a bit of potato there, you've got veg, and you've got chicken, as long as you're not deep frying it. You're looking at a 300-400 calorie meal, maybe 500. It's not a great deal. Whereas these shakes, they're saying, have this instead and you'll lose weight. And they're still 400 calories themselves. And like, would you rather have a plate of food or would you rather have a drink? Yeah. You should want the plate of food. Should. But yeah, that was something I was questioning about with the protein shakes and the bars. And one thing I'd say with protein shakes, guys, is there are millions out there. Millions. Look at the one with the lowest calories and the highest protein, like, balance.
You want a minimum of 80% protein.
Oh, yeah. You want the calorie. Yeah. So if you're looking at
whey protein.
I think the average one is what, 20 grams of protein roughly, normally? About your standard
25
one,
gram serving.
yeah, per 25 gram serving, you're looking at about 20 grams of protein. You don't want any less than that. Anyway, another one, which I think if we go this way first, it should cover a few other ones. Are carbs bad? I know this, but are carbohydrates bad? Because carbohydrates are what make you fat, right? Yeah? No, they're not. They're not. People think carbs are the devil. Fried chips are the devil with fried fish. Yeah, that's not great. But carbs are not bad. And like Paul said at the beginning, they hold a bit of water weight. So they may make you bloat a little bit. So if you want to go out in town for a night out, maybe don't have a big pasty meal before you go. All right? Make sure you got some loose trackies on maybe. But Paul, just cover a little bit about carbs for us, like as in, well, why they're important, why they're not bad.
Carbs are your body's primary source of fuel.
So it's going to give you have no energy.
Yeah, basically. And then because you don't have the energy from carbs, you end up going into keto or ketosis, which means your body's using fat as an energy source. But the fat isn't as good a source of energy because it's not as quickly adapted. So you end up being a bit lethargic because it takes longer and your body's got to adapt to it. And one of the other side effects is bad breath as well, which isn't the nicest thing in the world to have. Mm-hmm. But carbs, everyone always says about I'm cutting carbs. Well, fruit, veg, they're all carbs.
Yeah.
When people say cutting carbs, they think of bread, pasta, rice, etc. The problem with carbs is they're easy to eat.
Yes.
And they're quite calorie dense. So if you have 100 grams of pasta, you could quite easily consume that. It's 360 calories. You have 100 grams of chicken breast, it's about 130 calories. Yeah, it's going to keep you fuller.
Yeah.
So I always say to people, if they're wanting to cut carbs or drop carbs completely, just reduce the portion size and replace it with something like a veg, like a broccoli or something like that, because it's got fibre in there.
Yeah. Any dark green veg.
Yeah, because it's slower to absorb and a protein source.
Yeah.
But you don't need to cut out carbs. You don't need to cut out a food group. It's all about total calories.
Well, this is
all it's going to be.
Well, yeah, exactly. And with another thing, someone asked me about the best diet to do, and I think you'll agree. You should never ever do a diet. The only thing a diet is actually described as, a diet in dictionary is your nutritional habits. That is what a diet is. It's what you do through the week, your eating habits or nutritional habits. A diet isn't any diet that's out there. Any diet, every single one has one common factor. Every single one, a reduction in calories, whether it be through no fat, no carbs, 5-2 diet, anything, any form of diet, they are just a reduction in calories. So if you just eat anything you want, stay in that reduction of calories and hit a certain amount of protein, you'll be the same. Okay. So I guess with the diet side of things, however, I do want to say, some people do have intolerances. You may have an intolerance, and that you'd know that. You know, if you're bloated, it's different. If you're in absolute agony, your stomach's hurting after eating something, I advise you make a note of what you're eating and what's hurting. That way, you'll have to seek medical advice. That's different. That isn't.
I was just going to say on the whole diet thing, the whole calorie thing. I think it was Martin McDonald, the nutritionist guy, who actually said once something about people who say they've tracked the calories, they've done this, that, and the other, they've stayed in deficit and not lost weight. He said there's either two things: they've got a medical issue, so it could be thyroid, etc., or they're lying.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
the mistracking, not necessarily through their own fault, but the mistracking.
Bit of oil, or something.
Yeah, that biscuit that you have while you're making a cuppa, that all them hidden calories that you don't really track, and you try and write down at the end of the day, you can miss a meal.
Yeah,
and that difference can be the 200-300 calories that can throw you out from deficit to surplus, gain weight, lose weight.
Yeah, and exactly.
That's why I always say I try to get clients to track to start with, then you can start eating intuitive afterwards.
Yeah,
like I don't really track. I know roughly what's in foods. I know roughly what I need to have, so I can sort of plan it. But if you have no idea, you're not used to reading the label, you just have a normal, just grab and go.
No,
without looking at things, it's very easy to overeat.
Yeah, I mean, it's like these. I've got these in the freezer. Plenty of them. Ice cream. Breyers cinnamon ice cream. This whole tub is the same size as Ben and Jerry's. Okay, a Ben and Jerry's tub is on average 1,000 to 1,500 calories for a full tub. This is 340 calories, and it's also got
20 grams.
Yeah, 20 odd grams of protein in it, which for a protein source, not great. But as a pudding, I can eat half of that tub, which is more than enough, and that's 170 calories. That is not a lot considering the amount of ice cream that's in there compared to a Ben and Jerry's. Half a tub of Ben and Jerry's. In fact, you know what? I think the small tub of Ben and Jerry's, the small one, is the equivalent of this full tub.
Probably.
So in terms of what you could eat, it's just about making smart choices and just looking at the back. Like this, it says 340 calories in the tub. There's no black, it's in black and white. It's very simple. There's little things like that. One thing I've started doing as well is getting thin bagels, but thin ones. I used to get the big bagels, 250 calories. I used to have a bagel every morning for breakfast, just out of habit. Eggs and bagel, just what I did. I now get the thin bagels. I have the same amount of eggs, thin bagels, save myself 130 calories.
We do something similar. If we have fajitas, we use the mini tortilla wraps rather than the big ones because I think it's about 100 calorie difference per wrap or something stupid.
But you'll only have the same amount of wraps.
But you have the same amount because you have the same amount of filling.
Yeah.
Over the same amount of wraps. Yeah. But you're saving the calories on the wraps. And to be honest, it actually tastes nice as well because you get more filling than just having bread at the end.
Yes, yeah, exactly. So this is something that obviously people need to. Obviously, we're lucky because we know these things, and that's what we look out for.
It's just little tricks. That's all it is. Little tricks and tips. And funny enough, that's what I've got written down is about treats and low calorie versions.
Yeah, well, I've got the choc ices that you spoke about as well. They're quite good. But that as well. Just before we go off, that is it's little things I get asked a few times about potatoes. Forgetting the bloat inside of it, forgetting, issues. I get asked all the time, should I be eating sweet potatoes instead of normal potatoes? And should I be eating brown rice instead of white rice? Because it's better for you. And unfortunately, a lot of people have just been blindsided by saying, oh, wholemeal, it is better for you. On one hand, yes, it is. If you lack fibre in your diet, for example, you might want to attack a bit of brown pasta, a bit of brown rice, maybe brown bread, whatever. But in terms of, I have clients saying to me they don't like the taste of whole wheat pasta, but they're having it because it's better than white pasta. If they look at the back of the calorie packet, I think it's about 10 to 15 calories, which if you walk up and down your stairs once, you'll probably burn it. So in terms of eating white rice to brown rice or sweet potatoes to new potatoes, unless you lack something like fibre or anything like that, there's no real reason for you to be sacrificing your white pasta for the unenjoyable brown pasta. Would you agree with that?
It's much a case of which do you prefer?
Yeah, the calorific value is so minute.
Yeah. In terms of potatoes, sweet potato and white potatoes do have a slight variance. Sweet potatoes are more nutrient dense, got more vitamin C.
Yeah.
But if you don't particularly like the taste of them, don't force yourself to eat them.
No, the calorific value is not worth it.
get your vitamin C from elsewhere. Do you know what I mean? There's plenty of other options.
Yeah, definitely. Another thing I've got from someone is good fats and bad fats. In terms of losing weight, your average Joe losing weight, good fats and bad fats. I'm a believer at the beginning of it that a fat is a fat. It is what it is to an extent.
Yeah.
As long as you're not deep frying ice cream and things like that.
It's more a case of the structure of the fat.
Yeah.
There's obviously you've got saturated fats, which everyone says is bad because that was what we were thrown down on for 40 years. That low fat. Saturated fats naturally occur in meat, dairy, things like that. Absolutely fine. Make no difference at all.
No.
The low fat versions basically remove that fat, reduce calories. That's why it was low fat.
Yeah.
What you need to watch for with that is a lot of the time to put other things in. So like a low fat yogurt, a lot of the time, because that's where the flavour is, to put sugar in instead. You're better off with the full fat version.
Yeah.
Where fats are bad is when they're manufactured. So things that are in your crisps, biscuits, your hydrogenated fats, which are genetically modified effectively.
The good stuff.
Yeah, all the stuff that's what we were saying before about like carbs and everything else. Carb food, things like pizza, biscuits, crisps, donuts, cakes, it tends to be when a carb's mixed with a fat, it becomes a lot more palatable.
Yes.
So that's why the bad foods, the higher calories, one, because a gram of fat is 9 calories per gram, whereas carbs and proteins 4 calories.
Yeah.
But mixing them together with fat and sugar, you get in the double whammy basically of good tasting food, and you can overeat and overconsume. You think a biscuit can be 60, 70 calories each, and you can eat half a packet without
easily.
No problem.
Yeah.
Whereas you wouldn't think to eat half a packet of rice cakes.
No.
Because you'd get bored of it.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Because they don't have the fat in them that the biscuits do.
Yeah,
they're still carbs.
Yeah, yeah. I think what you said there, the main thing is just be aware of what's in there instead. I remember when I actually did my course, my PTing course, we learned that I can't remember the word, but food agencies don't have to specify certain things. So, for example, Muller Light, they were called Muller Light because they were lighter in colour, which isn't a lie. But I think they had 5 calories less. There was no difference, but they were called light because they were lighter in colour. They've now been changed and now have to adapt to that and change it. But it's little things like that. It's like Tic Tacs. Tic Tacs are 100% sugar, but because each one weighs less than a gram, they don't have to specify how much sugar is in there. So if you look at a Tic Tac packet, it says 0% sugar, but it's because each Tic Tac is less than 1 gram and they don't have to specify the amount of sugar in that. But it's on there. You just need to look past the...
On labelling, another thing to watch for, it used to be low fat or everything, and it's lower fat in comparison to their standard range.
Yeah.
Not necessarily low fat.
Yeah.
And protein, because protein is now the buzzword, everything's got protein added to it. Porridge pots, you can get a normal porridge pot, which will have about 11 grams of protein, I think, in like the little takeaway ones. You can get a protein porridge pot, twice the price. I think it's about 14 grams of protein.
Yeah.
But it's a protein porridge because it's got a couple of grams more. But it's twice the price.
Yeah, this is the thing. A lot of things you need to watch out for, guys, is like Paul just said, anything that says protein in front of it probably isn't. They tend to say, like Paul just said, buy this protein porridge for double the price. It has 3 grams more protein in, which you put a scoop of peanut butter in your thing, it'll probably give you more in your normal one. And it's a lot cheaper as well. But this protein, like Paul said, it's become a buzzword for people now. And everyone wants to buy it and spend a lot of money on it. Like we've got some protein bars and they're 4 grams of protein. It's about as much protein as a bloody apple. It's ridiculous. So just be careful when you're buying them sort of things, guys. Make sure all you need to do is look at the back. Just look at the packaging.
I think a slice of bread has about 6 grams of protein.
Yeah, exactly that. Exactly that. It's like bagels. Bagels have a bit more protein in them than most like bread substances, so that's why I have them. But yeah, just need to be careful with the labeling because it does get you. But it's just misleading, and you just got to be careful, guys. Another question. We kind of covered it earlier. Someone said they're trying to eat no more than 3 meals a day. Is this correct? How often should they eat? I mean, again, we covered it earlier. It's all down to what you do personally. Personally, myself, I'll eat 5-6 times a day, but my meal size will be completely different to yours.
Yeah,
I'll be running around more than you. I'll be doing things differently. That's just what I've trained myself to want.
It's funny actually because me and Nat have had this conversation because she now structures her daily calories differently to what she used to. Now we're together because we tend to have a bigger meal on an evening.
Yeah.
My maintenance, I think, is about 2,500 to 3,000 calories, somewhere around there, 2,600. Hers is around 1,800.
Yeah.
I've got a lot more calories to play with. So she has less through the day, so we can eat together and have a bigger meal. Yeah. And it feels a bit more normal than me having a big plate full.
Having a rice cake.
Yeah. Purely on that basis, because it's about how you use them calories throughout the day. It doesn't matter when you have them. It's more what fits your lifestyle best.
Yeah.
That's the biggest key with it. And everybody's different.
Yeah, I think
none
it's
of
just
this.
about you personally.
Everyone has. You get that question all the time. There's diet groups on Facebook and everything else, and it's like, I'm wanting to lose weight. How many calories are people eating? What does it matter?
Everybody's different.
What you eat compared to me is going to be completely different. different height, different weight, different age, different activity level.
Yeah,
They're all the factors that make the difference.
yeah, that's why as well. A lot of people. I've had 2 people now who have been to me. We've done measurements. We've done this. We've done that. We've done a bit of improvement here. We've done a bit of improvement there. And then they've gone to the doctors and had the BMI done, and they've come back to me really upset because they're severely obese, which they're not. It's just because they're very small or muscular, whatever it may be. You look any rugby player in the world, they'll all be obese according to BMI. The BMI, it works for people who are severely obese and people who are severely anorexic. But for me personally, you've got to remember, you're putting 66 million people into one category with 2 factors. That's all it is. So my point is, with your BMI, don't take it seriously. Don't be buying into it. You know, you do all this work with people, they get themselves in a better place, and they go to a doctor who steps on a scale, checks the weight, and puts them into a massive formula that's been made up to suit 70 million people, how many people in Britain, and put us all into the same category and say, you're this height, the average weight is here, but you're a bit heavier, so actually you're obese. But we're not looking into your muscle, we're not looking into what you do, we're not looking into anything else, just your height and your weight. It doesn't work.
That's why BMI was introduced as an average for general population. That was it.
And it's been.
It wasn't used. Yeah, it wasn't designed to be used on an individual basis. It was done to get an overview of the country's population.
Yeah.
And where we stood in terms of obesity levels, and that was literally all it was there. But because it's quick and easy in doctors, because obviously you only get 10 minutes or whatever it is, they can. Oh, you're 5'10" and you weigh 12 stone. Right, that's where you are.
Yeah.
It's quick. Look up on a chart,
isn't it? And meat in the middle there.
Yeah.
But yeah, with that, guys, just take it with a pinch of salt. We're not saying ignore it, but we're just saying, you know, if you're not obese and you get told you are, it's probably because you're too small or you just weigh a bit more than the average person for your height does.
Yeah.
So
weight loss is always going to be a numbers game.
Yeah.
So if you don't know your numbers, you've got no way of monitoring.
No.
That's what I always say, and that's why. On that point, actually, I've had a few people do it now, but we can work out what your calories should be on an individual basis, as opposed to a general rule of, I don't know where this magic 1,200 calories has come from women.
Yeah, usually 2,000, isn't it? Now it's down to 1,200.
Yeah, it's 1,200 to lose weight. Well, you want to diet on as high an amount of calories as you possibly can. If you're active 6-7 days a week doing this, that, and the other, and you're quite young, etc., then you're going to need more calories anyway.
Yeah, but the other thing as well, if you go for 1,200 calories, eventually you'll lose your weight, then eventually you'll get to here and you'll just plateau. And the only way to get past that is to lower it again.
Yeah.
So then we're 1,000 calories.
Or increase, yeah.
Then we're 800 calories. Then we're drinking water and eating grass. And we're dead. Simple as that. So you need your weight loss calorie goal to be as high or as close to your maintenance as possible. So here's your maintenance level. If you want to put a bit of weight on, you eat this much. If you want to lose weight, you eat this much. The closer we can get this value to your maintenance and still lose weight, the better. And then obviously we can, when we get to a point where we're plateauing, make it a little bit lower. Then a little bit lower. We always have somewhere to go. If you say to someone, eat 1,200 calories, you're going to lose weight. I guarantee you'll lose weight. But then after 2 or 3 weeks, when you realize you can't physically withstand it and you start to eat a little bit more food, your body goes into almost a state of shock, almost. And it sort of says like, oh my God, we're getting fed. Right, hold it, because we don't know when we're getting fed again. We need 2,000 a day just to live, just hold it. And then unfortunately what happens from there is it has excess calories, a lot of excess calories, because it doesn't actually require that much. And it's just a vicious circle.
What also happens as well, the reason why you want to diet on as high an amount of calories as possible is because you're more likely to lose body fat.
Yeah.
If you drop a lot of calories, go from 2,000 a day to 1,200, that's an 800 drop. That's a huge amount. You're more likely to lose more muscle mass because your body sees it as...
It's easier to break down, isn't it?
Yeah, it's quicker and easier. And the body's going into preserving itself effectively. It's not starvation mode or anything like that,
no.
But it's going into preserving itself. And if you're not working that muscle to need it, the body will get rid of it because it's burning calories at rest. You're going to lose water weight, and that's going to be the bulk of it.
Yeah,
you will lose a bit of fat, don't get me wrong, but because you've then lost that muscle mass, when you start eating normally again, your metabolism's changed, your body's needs have changed, and that's where you rebound. And that's what all these Slimming World groups and things like that do, because they go drop down, yo-yo up, drop down, yo-yo up.
Yeah.
And that's why everyone goes back on Slimming World, goes back to it. Well, if it worked the first time, why are they going back?
Yeah, the same person's lost a stone 5 times, but they're still the same weight because they're yo-yoing. Something you mentioned then, Paul, which is quite interesting. I definitely want your input on this. I'm not 100%, but people go on about the metabolism and stuff and how they control it and how they do this, how they do that. From what I've gathered and researched, that your metabolism, actually, you can't ruin it, so to speak. You can adapt it. It can adapt. And the problem with adapting is if you have a healthy lifestyle, have a healthy diet, it's fine. But when you go to severe dieting levels and have 1,000 calories or 1,200 calories or whatever it may be, your metabolism will adapt and change to that. And it takes a long time for this to happen, so that when you do return to your normal diet, so to speak, that's where your metabolism will have an issue. Is that right?
To some degree, yeah. I mean, obviously, it's down to composition, body composition, like I've just said about muscle mass, etc. And hormone levels will play a part as well.
Yeah.
Because you'll increase, if you're severely dieting, you'll increase your cortisol levels, which is stress hormone, and it's just going to throw everything out of sync. That's where dieting's bad, effectively, particularly for long term. Chipping away and having a diet break every few weeks, or even just bringing back up to maintenance for a week or so, it can sort of reset the body, for want of a better term, and you'll then stop that stagnation of, I've been sat this way, I've done everything healthy, everything this, that, and the other, and that's what puts you off.
Yeah.
If you then have a refeed or a relax for 3 or 4 days, don't go crazy, obviously, because you don't want to undo everything you've done, but jump back up to maintenance. Realistically, if you've gained, you want to lose 2 stone, because that's what you've gained. You didn't gain that 2 stone in 3 weeks. You gained it over 12 months. So it has to go the opposite way. Every pound that you're carrying is 3,500 to 4,000 calories of excess food.
Yeah.
So what you're going to do, go into a negative calorie on a daily basis to drop that 6 pound?
Yeah.
It's just not going to happen. Quick weight loss cannot happen unless it's water.
Something else you mentioned there, which is, I get it a lot. What you guys need to do when you start your fitness journey, so to speak, is you need to be clear with yourself what you want as your goal and be honest with yourself. The amount of people that I've had they've had 2 kids, they come in and say, what's your goals? I want to be 12 stone again. All right, cool. When were you last 12 stone? 12 years ago. So you want to be 12 stone, which you were 12 years ago after having 2 kids. Never going to happen. It's just not, because, like you said, your hormones change, your body changes, everything changes. So when you're making these goals or setting these goals, you need to be more realistic and specific, I think, rather than looking at the numerical value in terms of weight numbers. What we always try and suggest is look at jean size, for example, or fitting into a dress, or for a guy, maybe, I don't know, well, the guys are different without dresses. Oh, Paul might. But whatever you want to do, like, yeah. But would you agree with that sort of thing in terms of when they come in and say they want to get somewhere they were 8 years ago, but they want it now? Like I'm off on holiday in 2 months' time. I fit in this dress 3 years ago, and I want to fit in it then in 2 months. It's not a realistic time. You've done this for 3 years, and then asked me to reverse 3 years of work in 2 months.
Yeah.
If you can give me 3 years to give it a go, a very good chance of doing it. But what tends to happen is people get to a certain place and they'll say, I want to get back down to a size 6, for example. Right, when was the last time you wore a size 6? 2 years ago. All right, give me 2 years and I can reverse that. But it's about needing to take it slowly, and because otherwise, like you say, you drop right down on the calories and then you're here at rock bottom calorie-wise and nowhere to go. Yo-yo diet.
Yeah.
That's where the yo-yo diet goes.
It's human nature.
Yeah.
Everyone, we get it in our head and we want it instant gratification. That's all it is. It's funny, actually, I've got an infographic coming out about setting goals and using the whole SMART principle. So it's got to be specific, because one of the biggest things you'll get as a PT, what's your goals? Lose weight and tone up.
Yeah, 100%. And tone up's not even a thing.
Yeah. It's like what someone is toned is completely different to what another person thinks is toned.
Yeah. Yeah.
Losing weight, yeah, that's fine because you can measure that, but it needs to be specific. So it needs to be not lose weight. It's I want to lose half a stone. It's got to be measurable. Weight loss is fine. Inches are fine. Realistic, like you've said. Attainable, realistic, and time.
Yeah.
So I want to lose 7 pounds in 8 weeks. That's doable.
Yeah.
Want to lose 7 pounds in a week? Probably not.
I mean, it's doable, but it's not healthy, and you're not going to feel good afterwards, and it's going to go straight back on.
Yeah. You could lose 7 pounds if you're skipping the sauna for 3 hours, but
that's interesting. That's another thing. People tend to try and sweat more. I got asked the other day, if sweating is fat. It's fat. Sweating is fat, and obviously, it's a dangerous thing for people to think because they'll have seen a boxer do it or a UFC fight before a weigh-in. They'll have seen them go in a sauna wearing bin bags, burners, just dripping with sweat so they can jump on the scale and weigh in at a certain weight.
Yep.
And what people forget is when you sweat, every drop of sweat needs to be replaced. It's leading to dehydration.
Boxers and fighters, etc., who are making weight do that specifically for a reason.
Yeah.
Because they have a weight class to get into, so they sweat it out of them so that they can just make that weight class, where realistically they're walking around at a heavier weight. Heavier weight means more power, more strength, etc. So when they sweat it out to get on the scale, they make the weight the day before, then that evening they'll have a big meal, they'll hydrate, ready for the fight the next day, and they'll come in probably 2-3 kilos heavier, which would be their normal weight, not what they were on the scale.
Yeah. But the point is, obviously, the sweating and stuff, it's not a good idea.
It's just water.
And you need to replace it because it leads to dehydration otherwise.
Yeah. It's great. Obviously, it's the body's natural way of getting rid of burning calories.
Yeah.
It's a byproduct. That's all it
You
is.
associate it, don't you? You associate it. Like, I'm sweating, I'm obviously working hard, I'm obviously burning calories.
Yeah. But everyone's predisposed. Some people sweat walking upstairs, some people don't.
Yeah, exactly.
It just depends. We're all set with a certain amount of sweat glands, and you can equally be working as hard as each other, but sweat differently.
Yeah, exactly. Right. What have you got any other questions there, Paul, that people have asked, or you?
Yeah, run through a couple that Fiona asked was what foods to eat due to lack of sunlight and fresh air, because obviously we're not getting out as much.
Okay.
So is there any foods that we can use to help that? And it kind of goes into the second one, which is about building an immunity, obviously to help combat against everything that's going on.
Okay, that's well. Obviously, with the foods, I mean, vitamin D. We probably living in England. If we don't get it in food, we probably should be taking vitamin D supplementation anyway. That's something I do every day: vitamin D, and I make cod liver capsules, which is relevant. But vitamin D, we don't get a lot of sun, so most people should be taking them anyway, just to supplement the diet. It's hard. There's a lot of foods. If you eat normal, like if you eat just a healthy diet, you tend to pick them all up in foods anyway, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, I made a note of a few bits. Foods that contain good levels of vitamin D is things like fish, mushrooms, eggs, and pork. You're going to hate for this one, but cereal as well. Purely on the basis that it's fortified with vitamins.
I have cereal in the morning.
Yeah.
The point was on that different, but yeah.
It's not, yeah. The beauty of cereal, realistically, is because you generally have it with milk, vitamin D and calcium work synergistically together, in other words. So your body absorbs more vitamin D by coupling it with calcium.
Yeah.
So if you're having a vitamin D capsule, have it with a glass of milk, you're going to actually uptake more of it.
Yeah.
And in terms of building immunity, obviously we all know fruit and veg, etc. But in particular, obviously, you're looking for vitamin C. So that's your citrus fruits. Things that people don't really know about vitamin C wise is like red peppers, high in vitamin C. Strawberries are actually higher in vitamin C than oranges, as daft as it sounds. Then obviously you've got things like broccoli, garlic, ginger, spinach. Live yogurt is good for you. Nuts or almonds are good in the vitamin E or selenium. Sunflower seeds, turmeric is apparently really good. Green tea is full of antioxidants. And it's basically all fruit and veg. So papaya, kiwi, but poultry and shellfish as well, because it's vitamin B6.
Yeah, so if you were to base your diet around obviously barring vegetarians, which we'll go in a sec, but obviously like a meat, veg, and a small portion of carbs, or it'd be pasta or something. You have that sort of thing for dinner, something like that for lunch, and have a suitable breakfast. Then you're going to get that anyway from your standard diet, aren't you?
Yeah, something that I was always, I can't remember where I heard it years and years ago. I think it was probably when the paleo was the big thing, but it was try and focus on foods that you wouldn't necessarily need a label for. So if you go to a fruit and veg shop, you don't get a label saying this is an apple, it's got this much calories in it. You do at the supermarket because they're packaged, but
anything without an ingredient list.
Yeah, in a fruit and veg shop, you don't have the labels on your fruit and veg. In a butcher's, you don't have your labels on your meat.
No,
but you go buy pre-packaged. It's got nutritional information and everything else on it.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Yeah, if you try base your food shop around anything that only has its own ingredient, for example, potato is potato. That's what it is. Chicken breast is chicken breast. That's it. Anything that's got other stuff in there, that's what you need to be careful with.
And the last one, I think it was Sarah that was saying about she's noticed a difference in terms of body shape changing, but not necessarily losing weight, probably gained weight. The old adage, which women generally hate more than men. Yeah. Men don't really care too much about the number on the scale. You can debunk that one straight away. That's the easiest one to do.
It's a tricky one, really. But obviously, when women, if you're putting a weight on, what a lot of women don't understand sometimes is they say about muscle, they don't want to get big and bulky. And what I say to them all the time is I've been trying for 5 years. It's not easy. And I'm a man and I have testosterone more than you guys do. And I find it very difficult. So don't worry, you're not going to get big and bulky. But, with obviously the hormones and things like that, sometimes if you do build a bit of muscle, you do get a bit stronger, you are going to put a little bit of weight on. But doesn't mean it's fat. It doesn't mean it's fat at all. And I think it's very hard for people to understand that, men and women, but mainly women, obviously, understanding that they've got muscle, but they don't look like they've got muscle, if that makes sense. Obviously, a lot of my female clients will go into a gym session and I'll say, oh, bloody hell, the definition on your shoulder is really good. And by that, I mean, you have a bit of definition in terms of lower body fat. You can see the muscular definition, not look at your shoulders. They are bulging out here. I can isolate every single muscle with my finger. I'm saying you can, you've got lower body fat.
They look toned.
Yeah, you look toned. That's what you wanted. But obviously when I say you can see the muscle, you get scared thinking you're walking down the street like this and your shoulders are popping out of stuff. And I mean, the irony is your handbag weighs more than half of the stuff we lift in the bloody gym anyway. And I know it is because my partner's handbag's like that. But no, if you do gain a little bit of weight, that's why we say take pictures as well, because pictures don't lie. Pictures really
and measurements.
Yeah, pictures and measurements, they don't lie. So, jump on the scales if you want, see what that says. But more importantly, do your measurements and see the pictures and compare them. And be honest, don't try and pick stupid little things out. Don't take a picture after a meal if you didn't do it the first time, and so on. Right. I've done all mine, Paul. Have you done all yours?
I think so.
Right. Do anyone who has tuned in have anything to say or ask or anything? I'll unmute you all. Go, Paula.
Hi. So if, for example, you're allowed to have 1,600 calories a day, and you have most of those calories in carbs, does it really matter?
Okay, so start off with, have you been told to have 1,600 calories?
No, I'm just giving an example.
Okay, cool. Right, so I'll let Paul answer this after I say my bit. What I'd suggest, if I put somebody on 1,600 calories for whatever reason, it'd be a small decrease from their maintenance if they wanted to lose weight. As long as they were hitting a protein goal of around 1 gram to 1.5 grams of protein per kilo of their body weight. So let's say she's 70 kilos. Okay? And I'm telling her that she has to eat anywhere between 70 and 100 grams of protein. Yeah? Let's say she hits 100 grams of protein. That's 400 calories, which means she has 1,200 calories left.
Yeah.
If I've put her on that number and I've told her to eat that amount of protein, I wouldn't have too much of an issue with that to begin with, initially. However, as Paul said, the more carbs you eat, the more water weight you're going to hold. That's a fact. So if she's then having 700 to 800 calories worth of carbs to finish off the rest of them calories. 1,200 calories worth, sorry, wrong one. 1,200 calories worth of carbs. She's going to be holding a hell of a lot of water, which means she's going to look bloated and she's probably not going to like how she looks. That doesn't mean she's necessarily gained weight or got fat, but it means that she probably won't enjoy the way she looks and she'll feel sluggish because it's all got to digest.
Right. So you wouldn't actually gain more weight if you had most of your calories in carbs,
Paul?
but you would look bloated basically, but you wouldn't gain weight.
I'm not saying you would look bloated. Sorry, I'm not saying you would, but that is a side effect of having so many carbs. Paul, do you want to take over this one?
If you're in a calorie deficit, there's no way in the world you're going to gain weight, regardless of where it's made up from. As long as you have a level of maintenance here, you have a deficit here, you stick to that deficit. It doesn't matter where them calories come from. In a weight loss point of view,
Right.
So like
from losing weight. The reason why we say about protein, one, to maintain your muscle mass.
Right.
So you're going to keep that calorie level needed because muscle burns calories at rest. So you want to keep as much muscle mass as possible, or lean tissue in general, because that's where you get that metabolism spike. So you can diet on a higher amount of calories. That's what I'm saying. I mean, I'm carrying a bit of muscle mass, so my body needs more calories to service itself.
Yeah.
So that's the difference. That's why you want to keep that muscle. In terms of where the rest of the calories comes from, if it's more carbs, doesn't really matter. If it's more fat, doesn't matter. I'm the same as Dave. Literally, I say to people, right, this is your calories that you should have. This is the protein you should have. Fats and carbs will deal with themselves as long as you're within their numbers.
Yeah, and what I'd say to that as well is protein. It's the hardest food to digest. So protein you actually burn calories whilst you're eating protein. So when you ingest the protein, your body. That's why everything that Paul said about maintaining the muscle. That's obviously the main reason. But this is just another reason why we say get that level of protein. You hit that protein, you stay in that deficit. It doesn't matter what you eat. And if you are gaining weight long term, not just overnight, if you're gaining weight, I personally would call my clients out on it. You know, I would say, not saying you're lying, but somewhere something's not right. Because science says you have to be losing weight, given your weight, your age, your height, your activity level, everything that's specific to you. That's what I've used to get that number. And obviously, if you're still gaining weight, there's something else. Whether it be you're not recording the oil you're using, or whether it be the biscuit you had with a cup of tea. Like Paul said earlier, biscuit's 80 calories. 2 or 3 biscuits in a cup of tea. It's nothing, but it's also 250 calories. That's your deficit gone.
Yeah.
So carbs, it's not an issue. It's not an issue at all. A lot of people get beat up by it, and it's quite frustrating because I love carbs. I love them. I have them.
I do. I find it easier to have more carbs than protein, really.
Well, I mean, there is an argument in the poll with protein. Obviously, carbohydrates been protein sparing. When you've had a certain level of protein, carbs will sort of act to a level as a protein, so they aren't bad. My point is they're not bad for you. But you need to make sure that protein level is high, though. That is the key.
Yeah. Great.
Your body needs carbs to store in the muscle as well for energy. There's glycogen.
Yeah, we literally got a minute to. I'm talking to Danny. The carbs, it's fine. There's no need to worry about them. No, like we say, as long as you're not having fried chips and deep fried fish every night and stuff like that, there'll be no other health issues.
Thank you.
All right. Anybody else? Abs, you got out to say? Hold on, I'll unmute you. You got out to ask?
Am I unmuted?
Yeah, you're unmuted.
Okay. The big problem I have is snacking. Now, at the end of the day, I will often have the fruit or whatever else to snack on, but I find it very frustrating that I'll buy in stuff, but I don't need it.
Do you mean
and
like
so it actually goes out?
Snack on?
Yeah, fresh stuff. So it ends up going in the bin or whatever because I haven't actually eaten it. And it's really what is there that can be in your cupboard for a time when you want something, but haven't got the fresh products in.
I think that's a lot down to as a personal choice as to what you like. I'm trying to think, for example, like last night I went to
Something that's a bit more healthy.
I mean, you could use stuff like dried fruit and things. They are quite high in sugar and quite high in calories. But again, if you're hitting a certain calorie target and you've hit the protein and they fit in your calories, have whatever it is. For example, if I'm really, like tonight, it's 9 o'clock now, I'm getting hungry. Instead of having a handful of fruit, handful of nuts, a couple of pieces of fruit, I'm going to go and cook some. What am I going to cook? Chicken. I've got chicken and turkey mince, so I'm going to cook some chicken off, and I'm going to have that with some broccoli. It's not boring chicken either. It's mango and lemon chicken. But the point is, I'm going to go cook that chicken, and I'm going to have that with broccoli, and it's about 300 calories, which is the same as 4 chocolate rice cakes. It's the same as 5 or 6 biscuits. It's the same as half a bag of dried fruit. So when you say snacking and things like that, I think it's more about people need to try and understand the calorific value of the snack. Because obviously you snack because you're hungry. It's not a case. It's very rare people go, I really want to have this. It's more of a, I'm peckish. What's in the fridge? I'll grab what I can. So I think Abby, what the answer to you maybe is like, instead of looking at snacking and things, if you're hungry, look at something that's more dense than a snack. You know, if you're worried about snacking on certain things, I'd suggest having something bigger that is more bang for your buck, like a meat and veg. I mean, Paul, what would you say to that?
Yeah, it's a lot of the time it's habitual. So you snack because it's that time where you'd normally have something. Like I was always brought up as a kid to have pudding after main meal.
Yeah. So
now I'm kind of predisposed to wanting that sweet fix after a meal. Good little snacks to have that are low calorie that replace, if you've got a sweet tooth, is chocolate rice cakes good because they're quite low calorie for what they are. Sugar-free jelly I used quite a lot when I was dieting years and years ago, because you can have a whole Hartley's sugar-free jelly for about 6 calories, but because it's fluid as well, it satiates your appetite and it also fills you up.
The good thing
but it gives you that sweet fix.
They last quite a while as well, don't they? They'll sit in the cupboard for a while. They won't be going.
Yeah, you've got ages from. Yeah.
That's a good point, Abby. Maybe they might be more beneficial to you. Stuff like that.
And as daft as it sounds, a tin of rice pudding. There's nothing wrong with rice pudding because it's quite high in protein. You can have half a tin for about 180 calories, but you're getting about 6 grams of protein in there. You're getting that bit of a sweet fix.
Yeah.
And again, it's a tin, so it can be in the cupboard for months.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah. You all right with that, Abby? That cleared a few things up?
Yeah, that's fine.
So basically, we've just given you a 3-course meal between us.
I'll try and dig out some low-calorie snacks and ideas.
Yeah.
I'll see if I've got some.
Yeah, that'd be a good idea. Okay, Paul, do you have anything else to ask? Or do Albert, Enid, Kat, you guys have anything to ask? I'll unmute you all real quick if you want to shout anything out. No,
thanks.
Okay, lovely. All right, well, if we're all good then we'll leave it there, guys, I think. Paul, if you're happy.
Yeah. Any questions, if you do think of anything, just jot it in the comments below or in a message.
Yeah, just fire away. We can do these more, obviously, and with more questions and stuff, but just feel free to fire away.
Thank you.
All right, guys, no worries.
Thank you for taking the time to do this.